This video is going to show you how to purl stitch. So purl stitching is the opposite of knit stitching, and it is made so that you get these bumps that are on the back of your knitting, these bumps here, you get them on the side that you are currently looking at. So when you do a knit stitch, you get this bump on the back, the side that's facing away from you. When you do a purl stitch, you get this bump on the front, the side that's towards you. So sometimes you just want to put all the bumps on one side and all the flat sides all on one side just to get different patterns. So a purl stitch is the opposite of the knit stitch. So in a knit stitch, you put your needle through from left to right. In a purl stitch, you put your needle through from right to left. And you bring that needle from right to left on the front of the left-hand needle, whereas on a knit stitch, you put it through and go to the back of the needle. So, a purl stitch, from right to left and in the front. Now, you wrap your yarn around the same way as you do with a knit stitch. So away from you around that needle. And now, instead of pulling the new loop that you just made backwards towards yourself, you're going to push it through away from yourself. And now you've made a purl stitch. Now you can slide the stitch that you just purled into off the needle. So again, from right to left and in front of the left-hand needle. Wrap the yarn around away from yourself, and now push that new loop of yarn through the opening where you put your needle away from yourself. From right, and slide that last needle off. Again, from right to left and in front of the left-hand needle, wrap the yarn onto that needle tip away from yourself, and then use that needle tip to take that loop through that hole away from you, and slide the last stitch off. One more time, from right to left and in front of the left-hand needle, wrap the yarn around away from yourself, and then push that new loop of yarn through that hole away, and slide that last stitch off. Now, it's very important to know that the yarn, when you are purling, should be in the front of the project, like this, coming out of the front of the project. If I want to switch between knitting and purling, in order to knit stitch, the yarn needs to be at the back of the project. So in between these two tips of my needles, I have to bring the yarn around so that it is at the back of the work. Oops, my needle fell out. So that the yarn is at the back. Now it's coming off the back. And if it's off the back now and I want to make a knit stitch, I can do that. So the knit stitch again, from the left to the right and through the back and under the other needle, wrap around, and I pull that loop towards me. That's a knit stitch. Now if I want to do a purl stitch, I have to bring the yarn back to the front again, then put my needle through, wrap it around, and drag it away from me. One more switch. If I want to do a knit stitch, I have to bring the yarn to the back and then do my knit stitch. That's the difference between knitting and purling.